I'm Denise with Artist at Heart Paint Party. You have to customize it. Make something that you like. Make it personal to you. However that is. Oh! That's so cute! I love his little hat. You could be painting your bunny in. This is a pretty spring bunny, and I think that nice, lighter, softer colors look really nice for spring. Pastel. As big or as small as you want it.
Hey, Nisi.
Hey, Rach.
Can you slow down a little bit?
Sure thing. Actually, I thought it was almost looking like a butterfly, but I thought it would be cool, and I had an apple today, so I saved the core.
That's great.
I wasn't sure if it would work or not, but I thought I'd give it a try.
Yeah, I really like that you're reusing the material that might not seem to have a purpose and might have otherwise been thrown out.
Right. Well, hi, you guys. I'm Denise with Artist at Heart, and today we're going to create the Enchanted rose from Beauty and the Beast, right? You can do any kind of rose you want. It doesn't have to be the Enchanted rose, but nothing better than a magical rose, right? I'm going to draw step by step. I'm going to use a Sharpie on some white paper. I recommend you use a pencil because you want to be able to erase. The only reason why I'm using a Sharpie is so you can see it better on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to start first with the stem. My format is vertical, so turn your paper vertical or portrait style so you could do a long rose. I'm going to start right around here, and I'm going to do a vertical line up. I'm going to put some leaves there. And I'm going to do it on the other side. I'm going to come around, a little leaf there, up. Right about there, I'm going to go out. I'm going to add some leaves here. You don't have to have leaves if you don't want to. And you don't have to have a red rose. Your rose can be any color you want it to be. White, pink, yellow. All these beautiful petals. You guys can use pencil, color pencil, crayons, markers. You can see I've been exploring all these different supplies today because I was in a mood to try different things, and I'll share them with you later. So there's the basic idea for my rose. I am going to put, watch this, underneath, it's like a curved, almost like a stretched out smile. Ready? Smile. That's the bottom of my vase. And I'm going to curve it in and go up vertically, and then curve it in, go up vertically. And then I'm going to go smile. Up and over, smile. Put some little lines in here. So because it's curved, it's giving the illusion that it's dimensional instead of flat. We know it's flat, but we're giving the illusion that it's three-dimensional. And we're doing that by creating these curves. Is it perfect? No. Does it have to be? No. Okay, and then I'm just going to put some little rose petals down at the bottom like they fell off the rose, but you don't have to. There's my petals. If you want, you can put the curved part down there of the vase. And then the horizontal tail, a horizontal line here, and a horizontal line here. That'll be the table, right? You don't want to have the line go through it. If you want to see a little bit of the line, that's okay, but I'm not going to. All right. So again, as you guys sketch it out, you don't have to keep up with me. I was going to read a little bit of Beauty and the Beast. I'll see if I can get through the whole thing as you guys keep working on your rose. Yours can look totally different than mine. Once upon a time, there lived a young prince in a beautiful castle. Although he had everything his heart desired, the prince was spoiled and selfish. I know you're not like that. One winter's night, an old beggar woman asked the prince for shelter from the cold. In return, she offered him a rose. Repulsed by the old woman, the unkind prince turned her away. The woman warned him not to be deceived by appearances, since beauty is found within. When the prince dismissed her again, the old woman's ugliness melted away to reveal a beautiful enchantress. The prince tried to apologize, but it was too late. The enchantress knew there was no love in his heart. As a punishment, the enchantress turned the prince into a hideous beast. Then she placed a spell on the castle and all who lived there. The rose she had offered him was an enchanted rose. It would bloom until the prince was 21. If he could not learn to love and be loved in return before the last petal fell, then the spell would be broken. If not, he would remain a beast forever. Ashamed of his monstrous form, the beast hid inside the castle. A magic mirror was his only window to the outside world. As the years passed, he fell into despair. Slowly, the rose began to wither. He didn't believe anyone could ever love him. Okay, I'm going to take a break at the rose. Look at this. You guys can make a stained glass window rose, right? You could add different colors. Let me show you some other ideas before we get color. I want to color this with you, but I want to give you some inspiration. You can make it like that. Ooh. Vertical brush strokes, light blue, purple, maybe some silver and pink. Okay, do the background first, let it dry, and then layer the rest of it. Okay, that's just one way you could do it. So you would, again, paint the background, let it dry, and then continue on. Let's look at this one. Again, darker blue, maybe a little violet. Paint the background first. The top half is vertical brush strokes. The bottom half where the table is, horizontal brush strokes. Look at that. That's pretty too. Notice that inside the vase is a little bit lighter than outside. So you can make inside your vase a little bit lighter than the exterior. Oh, that's so pretty. We can add little dots to make it look like the rose is magical and sparkling. You can make the base gold or wood colored. And you can do it all stained glass, right? You can do it stained glass looking without even having the vase because it's your artwork. So I want you guys to make it so you like it. Now, I want to teach you a technique that, sorry, I just lost my hat. Jackson Pollock, who's a famous artist, used to splatter his paint, okay? Now, if you guys are going to do this, you have to be neat. So you're going to gently splatter. You don't want it to be too soaking wet. My paper's dry. I have some Crayola watercolor paint. You can use any kind of watercolor paint you want. You just add a little bit of water to it. And I'm going to show you. Now, remember, mine's upright. I would recommend yours is flat, but I want you to see this on the camera. So watch. Oh, it's not really splattering, so I need more water. Not so much paint. I just don't want it to drip too much, and if it drips, it's okay. Look, tap, 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 tap. So Jackson Pollock used to do this a lot outside. This is a fun project to do in the summer where you can go outside and splatter. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Now it looks black on the camera, but it's actually blue. I'm going to add a little bit more water so you can see it better. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Can you see it's blue? Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm not even going to put more paint. I'm just going to do water. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Again, you don't want it to be soaking wet. As fun as it is, I'm going to try a little purple. So I'm just tapping my brush. And if it looks too dark, add more water. Now you can also paint it, right? So look, I'm going to paint mine like the other one. So that's just watercolor paint. So you can sprinkle or you can paint it. So watercolor paint is transparent. That means that you can see through it. Or you could do both. You can sprinkle and paint it. I just want to give you different ideas. So if you didn't like the sprinkle, paint over it. So again, this is watercolor paint. I am using a sketchbook made for acrylic and watercolor. This is a sketchbook piece of paper, but it's heavier than regular paper, right? Because it's made for painting. So if you guys are painting, you have to use a thicker paper. So do you like the sprinkled look better, or do you like the painted look better? Because it's your artwork. So you decide. Oops, I just dropped a big blotch of blue there. It's okay. I'll make it into my artwork. I'll just smudge it in there for right now. Because you know what? I'm using vertical brush strokes up here, but I want to use horizontal for my bottom. You could be doing crayons, colored pencils, magic markers, whatever you have. Beads, you can make it three-dimensional with clay. All right, there you go. There's my background. Now, what could I do? Well, I could paint that in with a darker watercolor paint. You're seeing the reflection from the light, but that's actually all painted in. Okay, you can go over it with black or something darker than the blue, or I can paint over it with acrylic paint. Let me put a few more sprinkles on there. So I could sprinkle more over it. I could add more sprinkles on this one so you could see it better. See that? So I'm just dipping with a lot of water and I'm tapping my brush. Tap, 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 tap. Okay? So an artist that did that a lot, Jackson Pollock. All right, you guys, again, get your supplies that you want to color with ready. I'm going to read a little bit more to you. In a nearby village, there lived a beautiful young woman named Belle. Belle, unlike the other girls in the village, cared only for her books. She always felt out of place. Belle loved to read about adventure and romance. Her father, Maurice, loved books too. Maurice was an inventor, a genius, according to Belle, a crackpot, according to the townfolk. Belle is even stranger than her father, the villagers whispered. Her nose is always in a book, and her head is in the clouds. Gaston, the handsomest man in town, wanted to make Belle his wife. Even though she thought she was a brainless brute and turned him down again and again, Gaston was determined to wed the lovely Belle. One cold day, Maurice hitched his horse, Philippe, to a wagon and set off to show his latest invention at a fairway fair. But Maurice read the map wrong and became lost in a forest. As an icy wind whistled through the trees, he suddenly heard the howling of wolves. Philippe bolted and Maurice fell to the ground. Trying to escape the wolves, the frightened man ran deeper and deeper into the woods. He came to a castle and stumbled inside. There he was greeted by Mrs. Potts, the teapot, Cogsworth, the clock, and Lumiere, the candelabra, who had been all of the servants to the prince. But before he had time to marvel over these strange creatures, an even stranger one appeared, the beast. Don't get scared. When Maurice stared in horror, the beast howled angrily. Then he scooped Maurice up and carried him off to the dungeon. Aw, poor Maurice. Meanwhile, Felipe had made his way back home. Belle took one look at the riderless horse and knew something awful had happened to her father. Felipe, take me to him, she cried, leaping into the horse's saddle. Without a pause, Felipe thundered off towards the woods. When they reached the castle, Belle burst inside and searched frantically for her father. The enchanted objects led her to the dungeon, but just as she found Maurice, the beast appeared. Belle let out a terrified gasp at the sight of the hideous creature. She begged the beast to free her father. When he refused, she bravely offered to take Maurice's place. No, Belle, Maurice cried, but the beast agreed to exchange. Okay, so let's take a pause there and let's go back to our artwork. Now, I want to show you guys. So even though I just dripped on this one, look, I did the background on watercolor paint. You can see it now, it's dripping. And you can see that it's transparent, but I used acrylic paint to paint in the petals of the rose and the green part. So you can combine whatever it is that you're doing once you figure out what colors you want to do. And you don't have to use the same colors that I'm using, right? So I can use watercolor on top of that, but you're going to see the watercolor brush strokes. I didn't finish this one, but I started it. So this one I was doing all in acrylic paint. So I was doing the background light blue here, which actually I can finish it right now, just to give you another idea. Let's see. All right, so now I'm going to switch, and I got a little bit of green on my brush, but it's going to look, oops, it's kind of not as pretty as the blue. I got to find my blue. Hold on. It's because I didn't wash my brush off all the way, okay? So wash off your brush. Go all the way down to the bottom of the whatever it is and rinse it off and then dry it off. So now this is looks like a green blue, but I'm going to just paint over it. No one will know but me. Don't tell anybody I made a mistake. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. Do I have to start over? No. I'm just going to cover it. No one's going to know but me and whoever I tell. I'm not telling you guys because we're friends. Plus, you have to know that I make mistakes too, right? So on this one, I'm just going to try to do an all blue background. And I'm using acrylic, but you use whatever you want. Do you guys have a favorite Disney movie? Is Beauty and the Beast one of your favorites? Frozen, Little Mermaid. There's so many, right? So many. All right. I know you guys don't want to hear me sing, but you should definitely play music while you're doing this. Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. All right, I'm being silly. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. We can always add like little white sparkles to make it look like it's the enchanted rose, right? How about the ground? What are we gonna do with the ground? Oh, I didn't paint rose petals on the bottom of this one. Do you have to? No, you don't have to, but I could because I have some red paint right here. Let's just make sure there's no green in it. So I can put some little rose petals down here for our enchanted rose. You can outline everything once it's dry if you want to. Outline it with black or white. Okay, so there's my rose petals. Maybe I'll do, what color do you want my table? Should we do yellow? Or you can make it look like wood. You can make it brown and make it look like wood. I'll try a little bit of yellow. I'm rinsing off my brush. Let's hope I rinse it off better this time. Dry it off. Now I'm going to use horizontal brush strokes. I want to do a little bit of yellow up here too. And I can re-add the lines later. See, I'm painting over where I spilled paint, and it's covering it. But acrylic paint is very opaque. That means you can't see through it. So that's why I'm able to cover up any of my mistakes. It's a little bit harder to do with watercolor paint because watercolor paint is transparent. I kind of like the yellow. It looks very different, doesn't it? It looks different than the other one. All right, let's go back to the book. I know you've heard this before, but you can read it over and over and over again and watch the movie over and over and over again. Before Belle could bid her father goodbye, the beast led her to her room. The castle's now your home, he said gruffly. Belle was free to go anywhere she liked except the West Wing. You will join me for dinner, the beast ordered. That's not a request. Still, Belle refused, and the beast stomped off in anger. That night, Belle slipped out of her room and found her way to the forbidden West Wing. There she saw the enchanted rose by the window. When she reached out to touch it, the beast suddenly appeared on the balcony outside the window. Belle screamed and fled the room. All right, now look here. It's almost lavender or pink. You could do the whole glass container lavender or pink. That would be pretty too. Her heart was pounding. Belle ran out of the castle, mounted Felipe, and galloped off into the night. But a pack of wolves soon had them surrounded. Belle was helpless. Suddenly, the beast was there, throwing the wolves aside. Belle heard terrible snarling and howling at the beast, and the wolves battled for their lives. At last, the wolves ran off into the woods, but the beast lay in the snow, badly injured. Back at the castle, Belle carefully tended to the beast's wounds. Gentle as she was, the beast roared in agony. I barely touched you, said Belle. Then she saw the look of pain on his face. I forgot to thank you for saving my life, she added softly. The beast only grunted in reply, but when Belle turned away, a hint of a smile appeared on his face. Aw, the beast is nice, isn't he? In the days that followed, the beast tried to be a proper host. He showed Belle his library, and she began to teach him how to act like a gentleman. Perhaps it's too late, Cogsworth whispered to Mrs. Potts, and her son chipped the teacup. If Belle could only love the beast, this dreadful spell might yet be broken. Before long, Belle thought of the beast as her dearest friend, and the beast thought of little but the beautiful Belle. One night, while she was teaching him to dance, the beast asked, Belle, are you happy here with me? Yes, she said without hesitation, but the beast saw a trace of sadness in her eyes. Then Belle added, if only I could see my father again, even for a minute. You can, the beast said, handing her a magic mirror. Belle gazed into it and saw Maurice trudging through the forest. He looked frail and old. As she watched, he collapsed in a heap. I must go to him, Belle cried. He must be dying. I release you, the beast said. But take the mirror, then you will always have a way to look back and remember me. With the magic mirror to guide her, Belle soon found her father and brought him home. But their happy reunion was cut short by a pounding on their cottage door. The townspeople had come to take Maurice away. Gaston's friend stepped forward. Maurice has been raving that you were imprisoned by a hideous beast, he said. Only a crazy man would tell such a tale. But it's true, Belle protested, her worried eyes searching the angry crowd and fell on Gaston. Gaston, she cried, You know my father isn't crazy. Tell them, Gaston. Gaston whispered to Belle that he might be able to calm the crowd if she promised to marry him. Never, Belle exclaimed, and my father is not crazy. There really is a beast, and I can prove it. She turned to the crowd. Look in this mirror and see. The townspeople looked at the beast in the mirror and grew frightened. We must hunt down this savage animal, Gaston cried. After locking Belle and her father in the cellar of the cottage, the villagers rode off to storm the beast's castle. Luckily, little Chip had stowed away in Belle's saddlebag. After the villagers were gone, he used Maurice's latest invention to release Belle and Maurice from the cellar. By the time Belle reached the castle, the townspeople had broken in. Gaston and the beast were fighting on the castle roof. The beast managed to knock Gaston's weapon from his hand. There was nothing to stop him from killing Gaston. Gaston screamed for mercy, and the beast turned away from his enemy. Then Belle watched helplessly as Gaston plunged a knife into the beast's back. The beast roared in pain. Backing away from the wounded beast, Gaston lost his footing and fell off the roof into a fog below. Belle rushed to the beast's side. You came back, the beast said weakly. At least I can see you one last time. No, no, Belle said, sobbing as she kissed his cheek. Please don't die. I love you. Oh, Belle loves the beast. That's so sweet. I love the beast too. At that moment, the spell was broken. In one magical instant, the beast turned back into a prince, and the enchanted servants returned to their human forms. The castle came to life with rejoicing. There was no doubt that the loving couple would live happily ever after. The end. Beauty and the Beast. Disney's classic tale. There's another one too for younger people. I won't read it to you guys, but there's so many versions of this, and I love getting books from the library so you guys can, change them and get more and get different versions. So what I'm feeling on this one is I need more highlights, right? I like the highlights on this one. This one also needs to be outlined in black, but it's wet. So I don't want to do that yet, but I could take just like a tiny little paintbrush and add some white to my petals just to bring it, a little more details to it. Or I can do pink. So you guys, if you want, you can use red and white together. Right, to make some pink, and I'll just add a little pink in there for some bling, just to give you guys some ideas, but I know you know what to do. I can add some in here. Where's my pink? Hold on. A little bit of red, a little bit of white, or maybe you have some pink paint. You can also use some pink paint. Can you see that? Is that pink showing up? I'll hold it closer so you can see it. You guys could always put like the arched line in there. I don't want to do it pink. I have pink on my brush right now. Let me get the one where I was sprinkling before. So look, if you want to do your rose, you could do your whole rose pink and red. It doesn't have to be plain red. And I'm painting right over my black lines, and then I can re-outline it later. I like mixing right on the paper. You can make this into a gift for somebody. You could write a poem about a rose. You could write a story. You can make a card. You can give it to someone as a present, because everyone loves roses, right? You could add glitter to it. And if you guys want to add some like little white magical dots, I'm just using the handle. Look, white dot. You just add it on top. You could add little stars to it. Let's see. I could do a white one. Hold on, I could do like little magical plus signs, right? Look like little stars. More little dots. You guys decide, because you're the artist. So you guys decide what colors you want to use, decide what you're making it for, try sprinkling, but clean up your mess. Enjoy creating, be happy, make art. You guys, thanks for creating with me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye, you guys.